Hello, everyone. Thank you for tuning in to this week's edition of the Boerne Brew here on Boerne Radio, 103.9 FM and 1500 AM. And you can also listen on the Boerne Star, Boerne Radio websites. I'm the host of today's show. My name is Kerry Barboza, and I'm the sports editor of the Boerne Star. And joining us today on the Boerne Brew is team president of the San Antonio Missions Baseball Club, Burl Yarborough. And also joining us is his daughter, Alex Curtin. Alex was part of the 07 state championship Boerne High softball team. So first of all, welcome to both of you.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, and I've known you for a while. I know, Burl, you've been with the Missions since 1987 as general manager, and then you were named president 1998, I believe. Were they the Dodgers back then?
When I first got here, yes, we were the Dodgers, which the Dodgers were in town for about 25 years. Then we became a farm club of the Mariners for a while, and then the Padres have been here since 2007.
Yeah, and you've been mostly AA, but you were AAA for a while, weren't you?
We were AAA for 1 year in 2019 with the Milwaukee Brewers, AAA affiliate of the Brewers, and it was a good year, but 2020, something happened, and MLB ended up taking over, and, things changed in minor league baseball.
Well, you're a Boerne guy. I know you live in Boerne, and you could be a lot closer to the stadium. Why do you choose to live in Boerne? What is it about it that keeps you here?
My wife Tracy and I, when we first moved to San Antonio, we, used to always drive out this way and say, man, what a great little community this is. And as our kids were younger, we decided to make the move out here and have been out here since 1995. So, Alex was maybe 4 when we moved out here, and so she, it's funny, I tell people we live in the same house we've lived in the whole time, and I think she went to 3 different elementary schools, and just because the attendance zones were changing all the time, but we never moved, but she moved.
Well, we were talking about it just a second ago. You would stop at the Chick-fil-A in San Antonio that my wife worked at, and she always told me that whenever you ordered to go, you would give a different name every time.
Is that true? It is true. I have several aliases out there.
Johnny Danger, or some of your aliases, or we just make them up on the spot?
We have a couple go-tos, without a doubt.
Okay.
So, I can't reveal those right now.
Okay. So you do a CIA work as well, I hear. So, Alex, I know you help your dad out at the Missions games. What do you do at the stadium there?
I'm an account executive, so I'm in sales. So I do anything from like season tickets or groups, getting groups out there, whether that's corporate or a family outing or a birthday party, things like that. So yeah, it's a lot of fun.
How long have you been doing that?
I have been doing that, I believe 2017 was my first full-time year there. Now I worked previously. I started out actually in high school.
Yeah, when you were in high school, I would go and I'd see you at games.
Yes,
working.
yeah. So I'd work part-time in high school, probably in 2007 maybe. So I worked there pretty much every summer up until college, and then kind of once I graduated, my dad kind of gave me the idea like, hey, why don't you come work for me? I've had a son already, and so he was like, I'll work really good with your schedule. I'll take you under my wing and kind of show you the ropes. So I've been there ever since.
So talk about a small world. Your husband, Jeff Curtin, is the head coach at Boerne High.
Yes.
Your son plays baseball. So your whole life basically revolves around baseball, doesn't it? More or less, softball and baseball
100%. My Instagram says probably at a baseball field.
Yeah, that would make sense.
Yes. Whether I'm at work or at Jeff's games or cases, yeah.
Well, Missions, to me, the games are a lot of fun. It's the closest professional team. It's probably, 45-minute drive from Boerne at the furthest, depending on where you're coming from. But it's about a 45-minute drive. You can watch some good quality baseball. Guys that have been in the majors, right, or guys on their way up.
Yeah, we've had some great talent over the years. You just look at the last few years, Fernando Tatis Jr., Jackson Merrill was second in the Rookie of the Year voting last year. So it's been fun. And, I've told people for years, a lot of people don't know our players until they get to the major leagues or whatever. The one constant we have in our organization is the Puffy Taco. Right. And, for us, we really feel like whether you're a baseball fan or not, come out to a game, you're going to have a good time because it's so much more than baseball that goes on there. Yeah,
and what I like about you guys, you have like certain night, $2 pizza nights or, whatever, $2 hot dog nights. Do you still do those promotions to try to get people in?
Yeah, we have value nights on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So we have $2 tickets on Tuesdays, $2 parking. We have selective food and beer. Yeah.
Well, that's good. So that is Alex Curtin joining us. She's part of the Missions, also a Boerne High graduate. And She brought along her dad, Burl Yarborough, president of the San Antonio Missions baseball team. So the big thing, I think, the big news with the Missions is the stadium. So what's the latest on that? Because I know didn't the city council approve for the stadium to be built?
It has. We now have final approval from the city and the county. And so, it's been a journey. I think we started in 2015 working on a new ballpark, and it's never a straight line. There's always a lot of hills and valleys along the way, but we were sold in 2023 to some local ownership, and that really helped jumpstart our stadium issue, and got a great group of local owners now. And so it's a very exciting time. We look forward to breaking ground in summer of next year, and hope to be in that new ballpark in April of 2028.
So I was reading it's expected cost about $160 million, but it's not part of Project Marvel, is it, or is it?
It is not. We're going to be in a different part of downtown. This new ballpark is going to be part of about $1 billion development along the new creek over there, kind of between the creek and Fox Tech High School. So
kind of right off the highway?
Yeah. The new Frost Tower that was built a few years ago will probably be in right center field at the ballpark. And again, the ballpark's going to be part of hotels, living, restaurants, all kinds of stuff going down there. So I think it's going to be a very exciting part of town. And between that and Project Marvel that will be on the other side of downtown, I think everything's going to look different down there in about 10, 12 years.
Yeah, that's good, though. So I know I was reading somewhere that you guys are going to help pay for some of it, but the rest going to be paid through bonds, or how's that going to be paid?
Well, we're getting a TERS in San Antonio, so basically all the new development is going to help pay for it. Our ownership is putting in a substantial amount of money, and we are responsible for developing the entire area. Not only a $160 million ballpark, but also the hotels and all that. We will be overseeing that. And so right now it's a lot of vacant ground in this part of downtown. And so there's not a whole lot of property on tax rolls there. But once you get at least 2 new hotels, restaurants, and, some other living down there, it's going to add to the tax rolls. And both the city and county have approved a TERS for this area that will help pay for the ballpark.
So you went through the same thing at Wolf, right, when you built Wolf in 94, right?
We did. My first season here was 1988, and we were playing at VJ Keefe, which
St. Mary's.
On the St. Mary's University.
I remember that.
Very small ballpark.
Yeah.
And we started working on a new ballpark right when I got here. And we had the right person in town, Nelson Wolf, who was a big baseball fan. And Nelson had been part of putting VJ Keefe together back in '68 when baseball came back here after a brief 3-year absence. And so Nelson was city councilman, became mayor, and helped put Nelson Wolf together. And, again, 94 was our first year. And it's amazing how fast everything goes. Yeah. But it's over 30 years old now. Major League Baseball, as I mentioned earlier, we were taken over by MLB. They put in new facility standards, which, as you can imagine, everything from 94, not a lot works today, and no longer fit the standards that MLB is looking for. Right. And that's when we really had to get serious about a new ballpark.
Yeah, they deemed it inadequate.
They did. And, it's really not the ballpark itself as much as downstairs clubhouses and player amenities and things like that. I think for most the people that come out to the ballpark, they really don't see anything. I mean, our ownership, we've put a lot of money into it the last few years. And the place looks really good. But again, it's the guts of the stadium that aren't adequate for what Major League Baseball wants.
I mean, it's a step up from VJ Keefe, but you still need to keep going, right?
Without a doubt. When I got to VJ Keefe, I mean, we had to worry about people falling through the stands and things like that. But, I've got great memories of this place. We had a patio area down the third base side. And, people have fond memories of there. And, again, we were affiliated with the Dodgers for a good portion of that time. So people saw Fernando Valenzuela and just, Mike Piazza, Pedro Martinez. Great players. And it was a very intimate place and a great place to watch a game.
Yeah, I would go to those games back in 19... I think the power just went out there. But, yeah, I remember Ron Say, Steve Garvey, all those guys, they would come through San Antonio, and that was quaint ballpark, I would say. But y'all needed to move on from that. But as far as a new stadium, who would be technically the owners of that?
Basically, a stadium commission is being put together that our ownership will be a part of, along with some city representatives and some county representatives. So it's not going to be owned by the city or the county, but a stadium commission that will oversee it.
So that location, it's basically downtown. You're kind of on the southwest side of town now, right there by kind of Lackland. Will that location be better where you're at versus where you're at now?
Oh, without a doubt. It'll be more centrally located, and that's something that we've always battled. We're on one side of town, and I think the more central you are, it's better and convenient for the fans. I mean, we draw from all over the area,
right,
south, north, east, and west, but if you're coming from New Braunfels or northeast, you got to haul. And, you talked about me living out here, and so, I drive 45 minutes every day.
Right.
And when somebody says, I live, 281, 1604, hey, you're not getting sympathy from me. You may come out 3 or 4 times a year. I do it every day. And so, the great thing is it's easy access, highway all the way, and easy to get in and out of.
Well, what will be the name of the stadium? I think Kerry Barboza sounds pretty nice, but I don't know what names y'all are thinking.
We're just looking for several $1 million a year.
Okay.
So,
Is that all?
If Kerry can afford it, we can make that happen.
I think Roland Ruiz is getting his checkbook out right now as we're speaking. Roland is our sound guy. He actually does PA for you guys as well. So
he's the best. He's been with us a long time, and it's funny. Alex's son Case, who has grown up at the ballpark, has been absolutely obsessed with Roland from a very young age. And,
really?
Used to try to mimic him all the time, and
awesome.
So Roland is a big part of what we do at Missions Baseball, and a reason why people have a great time.
Question for both of you, because I know a guy who works at the Alamo Dome, and when they have football games, he says, I watch maybe 5 plays, because I'm working, and people don't really, I think I'm sitting there watching the game. How much of the game do y'all actually get to watch?
Well, for me, my main job is, if I have groups out there, season ticket holders, I kind of go and make sure everything's running smoothly, talk with my season ticket holders. So, I'm out there in the seating bowl, I'm talking to them, but I'm still watching the game. So I still get to see a lot of baseball.
I probably get to see more than most of the people that work for me because I have people.
Right. Yeah. You're the boss. So you have a little bit of time to watch.
Right.
You've had a couple Boerne ISD players. Seth Johnston was there. He was part of the Texas Longhorns, won 2 or 3 national championships with Texas, and then Blake Alamon with Boerne champion. He played there with the Missions. Any other Boerne grads that I'm missing?
No, that's it. But pretty special to have both of them be a part of it. And both of them were big parts of athletics here in Boerne, and it was great to have them both.
One was a Longhorn, one was an Aggie.
Right.
So this is a question for both of you. Who's been your favorite player that's gone through the system and gone up through the majors?
First would be Adrian Beltre, would definitely say him. And then more recent, definitely Fernando Tatis.
Tatis, yeah.
Yes.
I've had a lot. One of my favorite that I ever dealt with was Paul Konerko, who played for us and had a great career with the Chicago White Sox. But he was a great guy and fun to watch. I remember him hitting the ball over the center field monster we have out there. He was just very talented. But, in the recent times, I remember Beltre here as a 19-year-old. I remember Pedro Martinez. He was here very young. Tatis, when some of these guys come in, they're special. And, those are the ones that are fun. And it's not only the people that play for us, but, the people that come through the league.
Mike Trout.
We had Mike Trout. I remember the year we had Trey Turner at shortstop. There was 3 or 4 shortstops in the league that year. Corey Seager, Carlos Correa, all these guys were in the league at the same time, and it was a special time.
That is Burl Yarborough, president of the San Antonio Missions, and he's brought his daughter Alex Curtin with him, and they both work for the Missions, and Alex played on the 2007 state championship Boerne High softball team. So when is y'all's downtime? I know they have meetings in December, but once summer goes, you guys are pretty much going all summer at least, but when's y'all's downtime?
It's really in the fall is when it is, but our season now stretches into September, so it's
because y'all have playoffs.
A little longer, and there's really very little downtime for us between our jobs and then Alex's husband, who coaches baseball and football. Her son,
I see you at football games.
Yeah, so we enjoy that. Her son plays football, basketball, and baseball. So, there's very few weekends that there's not a sporting event going on. And probably the spring is the busiest time because Jeff will have baseball games. Our season's getting started. Her mother-in-law's the AD of Harlandale ISD. So both families are going all the time.
Speaking of playoffs, you guys have won, I think, 6 Texas League championships. So was it in 07 Boerne won state, Missions won the Texas League and the Spurs won the NBA title. Am I getting that right?
Yeah, that sounds right. We've won 6 Texas League titles since I've been here. I was fortunate to part of Blue Jay Class A club that won a couple before I got to San Antonio, and then '07, the Boerne Greyhounds won the softball championship, and that was a lot of fun. That was a great year.
What's a good amount of people at a game for a Missions game? Like, what's a good night? 5,000-ish, 8,000? Like, what's the average and what's a good number?
Yeah, I would say, we're averaging over 4,000 a game. And, the weekends are usually bigger crowds for us, than during the week. Our schedule now, we play Tuesday through Sunday. So we play 6 days in a row. Then a lot of times we're out of town for 6 days and back. But we try to have something for everybody. Like Alex mentioned, we do value nights on Tuesday and Thursdays. We have all our giveaways on Fridays, do fireworks every Saturday night. And Sundays, we do a lot of kids-oriented promotions. And the weekends and giveaways, there's sometimes we have jersey giveaways.
And those are real popular.
Thousands and thousands of people in line when the gates open. So.
I've seen that. Don't you have like a dog thing too?
We do on Wednesdays. Yeah. It's not every Wednesday, but we do have
Bark in the Park.
Yes, we're actually having a take me out to the ball game this coming Wednesday, and people can bring their cats.
So 4th of July is this year on a Friday. Are y'all home or y'all on the road that 4th?
We actually play on the 3rd of July, so we'll have our celebration that day.
Okay.
And then I believe we go to Corpus on the 4th. Right.
And we have Wade Bowen in concert on the 3rd. So,
and fireworks.
Yeah, and a big fireworks. It's our biggest fireworks show of the year. Yeah. So usually we're home either the 3rd or the 4th, and that'll be one of our bigger days of the year.
Yeah, I know you've led attendance several times, I think 5 times. And I know I'm going to embarrass you a little bit, but in 2016, you were in the Texas League Hall of Fame.
Yeah, it was a very special honor to get. I grew up in Fort Worth and grew up going to Texas League baseball up there because I was a kid before the Rangers moved up there, and we had the Dallas-Fort Worth Spurs that played at Turnpike Stadium between Fort Worth and Dallas. So grew up going to those games, and growing up in Fort Worth, had one of the greatest Texas League franchises of all time, the Fort Worth Cats. So always grew up hearing about the Fort Worth Cats and the Texas League. So I grew up a big sports fan, but always loved baseball and always loved minor league baseball.
So was that always your goal when you got out of college, was to just go into baseball? Was that?
I wanted to work in sports, and when I first got out of school, I did work for a couple of years, but I went back and got a master's in sports management and been in baseball ever since. But so, yeah, it's always been on the radar.
Yeah, I think at some point back in the day, our cross may have passed, because I lived in North Carolina and Virginia for about 5 years. So weren't you out kind of East Coast for a while?
I was. I spent 3 years in South Carolina working for the Blue Jays.
We were neighbors.
Yeah. So, I love South Carolina. It's a great place. But, I had the opportunity to come to San Antonio, and I think if you're a Texan, you usually want to try to get back. And when I came here, I didn't know I'd be here for the rest of my career, but it's been a great run.
What's kept you there?
I just have worked for great people. We had one owner for 35 years that always supported us and let us run the show, and always have had great people that work for us. So just really enjoyed it, and loved the Texas League. And we ran the hockey team for 4 years, the San Antonio Iguanas. So that was kind of right in the middle of this run here to do that, and we enjoyed the heck out of that. A little different than baseball, but it was 4 fun years.
Like I said, the Missions games are a lot of fun, and there's a lot to do, and there's a lot of fan involvement and games, and contestants throw things. There's all kinds of contests in between innings and all that. And the Puffy Taco, I think Roland will chase him around for a little bit.
Are you sure Roland's not the Puffy Taco?
He might be, because I don't hear him when the Puffy Taco's running around. I don't hear him on the PA. So
have you ever seen them together?
No. It's like Michael and Janet Jackson. You never see them together.
You might want to do an investigation there, Kerry.
I might. I might do that. I've mentioned the state championship softball team, and I've had Sarah Kammer, formerly Sarah Corcoran, on the show, and her dad, Billy, and we talked about that 07 team. Alex, what's your best memory from that year? Is there one that kind of stands out?
I have so many, Kerry. It's hard to pick one. I would say, though, like playing-wise, I believe it was the 3rd round. We were playing Corpus Christi Moody. Was that the 3rd round? Anyways, they beat us game 1 on our home turf, and so we had to
Northeast.
Yes, and so we had to turn around the next day and go
to Cabinets.
Yes, go double dip them, and I think that leads to another thing. I think with that team, the confidence on that team was on our team is what I'm talking about. It was so unmatched. It was like, okay, cool, you beat us once, you're not going to do it again. So it was just the confidence level on that team it was amazing.
How many of those girls do you still talk to?
A lot.
Do you?
Yes, actually, Sarah Kammer.
Yeah, well, she's a teacher here.
She's a teacher here, but we were in each other's weddings. Best friend, Ashton Stewart, we were in each other's weddings as well. Still talk to, Shelby Veselka, stay in touch with Kim, and I keep in touch with Vic on Facebook and stuff, and Chelsea Muskoff, yeah. Yeah, so I still talk to quite a bit of them.
Yeah, Chelsea works for USAA,
yes,
I think.
Yes, she does. Yes.
And I see Sarah because she's the head coach at Boerne Champion.
Right.
And, one thing her dad, Billy, said is that the parents were really close. Do you remember that? Just the parents would be at all the games together and were really close. Was that one of your best memories?
Oh, it really was. Again, I've been fortunate to win some championships, but that was better than anything I've done in professional baseball because, you think about it, it's a community, and we just got so lucky to have so many girls together at the same time that, was really a special team. 8 of those 9 players went and played college sports,
right.
Which is pretty amazing.
Right.
And, some of them had some really, really good careers in college. And so it was a really good group and one that, I think if you go back and look at Boerne baseball, in the years that they were so successful, a lot of it is the parents that put them together. I remember as Alex was coming up, I think Coach Fox knew about her in about the 5th grade and knew she was coming and everything. She would go to her camps. And so I remember, I think when Alex was in 8th grade, and Fox found out she wasn't going to be a freshman yet, she was kind of disappointed. So, Alex came in and there was a great core of girls here. Mike Chapman and a couple of them kind of got together and we played summer ball together for a couple of years. And again, I think the girls developed, such camaraderie and they were so close. And for the parents, the same thing, we spent a lot of time together. Seemed like we played a lot of 3-game series and had to go on the road. Remember going to Austin Westlake, getting rained out, and we ended up in Brenham. And, so it was a group of parents that were always there to support our team, support the girls.
What was the toughest series that you remember that year y'all won it? Was it Tolosa, or not Tolosa, was it?
Vista Ridge?
Yeah, that
I would say,
good.
Yeah, that one, and then I would also say Moody. They had that pitcher that was lights out. So between those two, definitely.
Moody seemed real intense, like they just, y'all didn't like each other.
Yeah, no, Fox did such a great job of getting us so prepared before a series. I think that pitcher, she had a great drop ball. So every practice we would work on nothing but drop balls and hitting drop balls. And so I would definitely say those two.
Because I know Fox was a pitcher in college, and so that first game y'all lost, she went the next day or whenever was throwing drop balls just so you could kind of get a feel of.
That definitely benefited us for sure, her being a pitcher and being able to, throw all different kind of pitches and get us ready for the games.
Well, and your dad mentioned 8 of the 9 girls went and played in college. You played at Incarnate Word. What was that like for you, your time at Incarnate Word?
It was fun. It was great. I will say I went and played at Blinn Junior College before that. So I played 2 years at Blinn Junior College and then transferred to UIW. Had so much fun at Blinn. We went to the College World Series twice. I know my sophomore year we got 4th at the World Series, so that was a lot of fun. And then, just transferring to UIW, I knew I wanted to get back and closer to my dad. He actually bought a car whenever I was playing at Blinn, and he would drive. He would never miss a game. Wow. Whether it was we were playing at Blinn or if we were away, he would come watch me. And so I knew I wanted to get home and closer to him and my family and make it a little bit easier for him. So, it was a great time. I'm so fortunate to have the teammates that I have had in high school and college. Definitely lifelong friends. So.
Yeah, and I remember Kim LeCompte, she worked at the Missions with you one summer.
Oh, yeah.
I remember that
was my girl. We worked every summer together in high school for sure, so yeah.
And we were talking about it before we went on the air. You were a sophomore, right, when y'all won state?
I was a sophomore.
Right.
Yes, sir.
And then junior year, you're at Boerne High, and then senior year, Boerne High shut down because they had to renovate it.
Yes.
And Champion was ready to go, so What was that like playing that 1 year? Champion's a great school, but
Great school.
You were,
Great
but you
school.
were a Greyhound, right?
I grew up, you know, like I said, we moved out here when I was 4, so I was kind of devastated when, we all had to go to Champion. But it's a great school, and I was very fortunate for sure. So,
were you the only one that got to go to both?
let's see.
Lacey Paula.
There was Lacey Paula, Caitlin Faulkner, Bailey Tuttle. So there was maybe a handful of us.
Okay.
Yes.
So you'd have rather ended up at Boerne High.
I would.
Yeah, because you
Can
were-
I say that?
Yes,
I
you can.
would.
Well, I don't know. Stan's coming with a stick. So.
Oh,
No, I know you had a great high school career and a great college career, and now you're back and you're involved in baseball. Your husband's a coach. Your dad's the president of the mission. So baseball is y'all's life, right?
It is our life.
Yeah.
It is our life. My husband and I always joke our kids, they don't have a choice. They're playing baseball.
Yeah, there you go. Well, you're going to be there, so they might as well be there too.
Exactly.
Well, that pretty much does it for our time. 30 minutes is just come and gone. It's flown by. So we really appreciate both of you coming out on the Boerne Brew. Thanks, Burl Yarborough, president of the missions, and thank you, Alex Curtin.
Thank you for having
Kerry,
us.
thank you for everything you do for Boerne sports. We followed you for a long time. You did a great job covering them back in high school, and I know you still do it for the kids here in Boerne, and we appreciate all your work.
All right. Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you for coming out, and thank you for listening to the Boerne Brew. We'll talk to you next time.